class for economics. Now the second chapter is sector of the Indian economy. What type of Indian economy is mixed economy? Mixed economy means there is a involvement of government and private sector both in the Indian economy. And what is a sector? All the activities under the economy has been divided into sectors, and that sector we will discuss. Basically the sector has been discussed in the three ways: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. So now we are discussing the sector or economic activities. So basically economic activities are divided between the sectors, so that is why sector of the economic activities. Now we have to go through NCERT because that is very important. Now let us look at these pictures. You will find that people are engaged in various economic activities. So why these activities are economic activities? Because these activities are done for earning income, for increasing the wealth, for earning the profit. That is why they are known as economic activities. And what are the non-economic activities? Non-economic activities are those activities which are done just for the psychological satisfaction. Some of these are activities producing goods, some other are producing services. These activities are happening around us every minute. Even as we speak, how do we understand these activities? One way of doing this is to group them using important criteria. Using some important criteria, these groups are called sectors. So it is very difficult to discuss activities individually one by one. So there is a group has been made, and the same type of activities are there in one group, and then the other same type of activities in the another group. So that's why it has been discussed that the group has been made for different economic activities. Now we begin by looking at different kind of economic activities. There are many activities that are undertaken by directly using natural resources. So when the natural resources are using directly, in which type of activities, like these type of activities includes primary sector activities where natural resources are directly involved, like land has been directly involved for cultivation. For example, the cultivation of cotton, it takes place within the crop season. For the growth of the cotton plant, we depend mainly but not entirely on natural factors like rainfall, sunshine and climate. So this is one of the you can say example of those activities which are undertaken by directly using natural resources, that is the cultivation. And cultivation, for which type of resources we depend for the cultivation, that is basically natural factor like rainfall, sunshine and climate. So the product of this activity, cotton, is a natural product. Similarly, in the case of an activity like dairy, we are dependent on biological process of the animal and availability of fodder, etc. The product here, milk, also is a natural product. So similarly, minerals and ore are also natural products because they come out of the land. There are mines. These all natural resources are used to be found into the deeper of the earth. So we have to dig it up, and then these are called as mine, and where digging procedure going on, and we will get the natural resources in the form of mineral and ores. When we produce a good by exploiting natural resources, it is an activity of primary sector. So this is a question which comes in front of you, that what is a primary sector? When there is exploitation of natural resources are there out of the activity, that is the primary sector. When we produce natural resources out of the economic activity, that is known as primary sector. An example are, you can say, cotton, milk. So that question can come, what is primary sector, and give an example. Why primary? This is because it forms the base for all other products that we subsequently make. Since most of the natural product we get are from agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry, this sector is also called agriculture and related sector. So the primary sector is the base of all sector. What is the name of all sector? That is the secondary and tertiary. The secondary and tertiary sector activities can be possible when there is a primary sector exists. So primary sector is having natural resources, and these natural resources are provided by primary sector to other sector. The secondary sector covers activities in which natural products are changed into other form through way of manufacturing. So with the many process, the natural product converted into other useful product, which we associate with the industrial activity. It is the next step after primary. The product is not produced by nature but has to be made, and therefore some process of manufacturing is essential. So there is saying that if the product comes out of nature directly, then that is comes under the primary sector. But when the process has been made and the process has been made for the outcome of the primary sector, then out of that process some utility has been added, then that comes under secondary sector. This could be in the factory, workshop, or at home. For example, using cotton fiber from the plant, we spin yarn and weave clothes. So spinning of yarn and weaving of cloth and making garments, making beautiful dresses, these are all included in secondary sector. Using sugarcane as a raw material, that is a raw material we are using sugarcane, and we make sugar, gold, or some other food processing product out of sugarcane, that comes under the secondary sector. So we convert earth into bricks and use bricks to make houses and building, so that is known as secondary sector. And this sector gradually become associated with the different kind of industries, and that came up, it is called the industrial sector. So here industries are there. Industry means where some production procedure is going on. Industry means where some factories are there, where some machineries are there, and there the production process which is going on, and you are making the product with utility so that it can be useful for the consumer use. After primary and secondary, there is a third category of activities that falls under tertiary sector, and that is different from the above two. So this is the tertiary sector. Basically this is known as the service sector. Here the activities involved which support primary and secondary. Like in tertiary sector, we can find banking activities, we can find insurance activities. So all type of services are there for tertiary sector. And now the and is different from the above two. These are activities that help in the development of primary and secondary sector. These activities by themselves do not produce a good. So the goods is not directly produced by tertiary sector, but the goods are produced by primary and secondary. Tertiary sector support primary and secondary in all the ways by providing various aids to trade. Aids to trade means helps to these primary and secondary sector. For example, goods that are produced in the primary or secondary sector would need to be transported. So when the goods have been made in the primary and secondary sector, these goods are to be transported by trucks or train and then sold in wholesale and retail shop. And at times it may be necessary to store these goods in the godowns, and we also may need to talk to others over telephone or send letters or borrow money from banking to help production and trade. So transport, storage, communication, banking, trade are some example of tertiary activities, and these activities generate services rather than goods, and the tertiary sector is also called the service sector. As I told you, it is a service sector. It is providing those activities like banking, insurance, communication, and advertisement, likewise, and storage, godowns. All these activities are provided by tertiary sector to primary and secondary so that their work go on smoothly. Without the help of tertiary sector, it is very difficult to go on with the primary and secondary sector. Banking also comes under tertiary sector. So here the question can come, what is tertiary sector? Tertiary sector is supporting primary and secondary sector by providing services. Goods are not to be produced in the tertiary sector. Goods are produced in primary and secondary sector. Under primary sector, natural product has been produced, and under secondary sector, these natural products are used with many process, and then they make the product with more utility, and that will be useful for the final consumer or the other consumer. Final consumer means who are purchasing the goods for its own use, and other consumer means that can be the producer also, who are purchasing these industrial goods and making some more innovation, some more utility, adding some more utility to this and making available to the final consumer. So that question can come, what is service sector? You should learn that service sector and tertiary sector both are same. Now secondary and industry sector, they both are same. That can be asked that what is industrial sector? So primary sector and other agriculture, and if they said that agriculture and related sector defined, then you have to understand that this is primary sector. Fine. So primary sector means extraction of natural resources from the nature. So that is the primary sector basically. Fine. So these three sector can be asked with example or with the definition. Now service sector also includes some essential services that may not directly help in the production of goods. For example, we require teacher, doctor, those who provide personal services such as washerman, barber, cobbler, lawyer, people to do administrative and accounting works. In recent times, certain new services based on information technology such as internet cafe, ATM booth, call center, software companies, etc. have become important. Now data analyst is another type of service sector that has been developed to a large extent, and it is a very promising career with this IT information sector. So that is, there are many emerging business, there are many emerging things that has been developed with the tertiary sector. So they are discussing all these professions are there, like doctor, teacher, and chartered accountant, lawyer, you can say. So all these are profession that has been in the service sector, or you can say tertiary sector, and they are very promising, definitely. And all the many other type of activities like cobbler and barber, washerman, I like to say that some beautician, there be makeup man, and some this game maker, like who the people who are making games, video games, and they are working on the IT. So all these included in the service sector. So that has been the emerging career, and also it includes all the essential services. They are, although they are not producing the goods, but they are and they are not directly contributing for the production of goods directly, like but they are there. Without them, it's very difficult to go on for produce for this primary and secondary sector, or the people working in primary and secondary sector. So these are the essentials, very much necessary services which are provided by the tertiary sector. Now the next thing is economic activities, though, are grouped into three different categories, as I have told you: primary, secondary, and tertiary. And the name of primary is, again I am just repeating, agriculture and related sector. And what is another name of secondary? Industrial sector. What is another name of tertiary? That is service sector. So all these are grouped up and then highly interdependent. They are very much interdependent upon each other, because primary sector is providing goods to secondary sector, and secondary sector and primary sector both are supported by tertiary sector. Tertiary sector can go on, can earn well when the primary and secondary sector are working well, because if there is no production, there is no primary and secondary sector, then there is no need of tertiary sector in that way. Fine. We need tertiary sector, we need banking, we need insurance, we need many more services, financial services, so godowns, all these we need, and trucks, and for transportation, that all we need, because there is a primary and secondary sector there. With the growth of primary and secondary sector, tertiary sector will also be in the growth. So they all are interdependent. So this is the question, how you can say that all these sectors are interdependent. Here are some examples to prove that. Imagine what would happen if farmer refused to sell sugarcane to a particular sugar mill. The mill will have to shut down. Fine. So definitely the farmer is the primary sector belong to, and then they are sending, or they are selling sugarcane to producing sector, that is secondary sector, industrial sector. So if that sale has not been done, then that there is no use of secondary sector, because secondary sector needs natural products from primary sector, so that they can do their production, they can do their activities. Now imagine what would happen to cotton cultivation if companies decide not to buy from the Indian market and import all cotton they need from the other countries. Indian cotton cultivation will become less profitable, and the farmer may even go bankrupt. Then if they cannot quickly switch to the other crops, cotton price will fall. So they are explaining the importance of cotton product purchase by the secondary sector. Here the people who are producing cotton and they are doing cotton cultivation, they comes under the primary sector. If the people comes under the secondary sector, the people are not purchasing cotton from the primary sector, then primary sector for cotton can go bankrupt, and then that means the people are not having profit and not even earn any income, who are involving in the primary sector for the production of cotton. So they have to quickly switch over to the another crop. So that is why here it is giving the importance of the secondary sector by this example. Now farmers, but many goods such as tractors, pump set, electricity, pesticides, fertilizers. Imagine what would happen if the price of fertilizer and pump set go up, and cost of cultivation of the farmer will rise and their profit will be reduced. So farmers are the part of primary sector. They are doing the cultivation activities are included in the primary sector, and they buy many goods such as tractor, pump set, electricity, pesticide, fertilizer, all that. And what would happen to them if their prices has been increased? So it is very important for the secondary sector to give the reasonable price for the primary sector, so that they can purchase these products and do their cultivation with ease. Now people working in the that's why this example says that primary sector depends upon the price fixed by the secondary sector, so that all these amenities can be used by the primary sector, and there they have taken the example of farmer. Now people working in industrial and service sector need food. Imagine what would happen if there is a strike by transporter and lorries refuse to take vegetable milk for the rural areas. From rural areas, food will become scarce in the urban area, whereas a farmer will be unable to sell their product. So here they are giving the importance of basically tertiary sector. So tertiary sector is providing the services by taking all these things. By there, the facility that has been used for the purpose of the taking goods from one place to another, that is transportation. So transportation is a part of the tertiary sector, that is basically the aids to trade for primary and secondary both. If tertiary sector is not providing the transportation, then there will be problem for the primary sector and industrial sector both, because they want transportation for proper availability of goods at proper place. So that is why here the importance of tertiary sector has been raised for the secondary and primary sector, and this point shows that which sector depends upon whom. Primary and secondary depends upon tertiary sector. And what about this shows that primary sector depends upon the secondary sector. And what this particular thing shows that basically the primary sector depends upon the secondary sector, fine. And the secondary sector depends upon the primary sector. So all the sectors are interdependent. So all these activities shows that, fine. If there is a growth of one sector, definitely it impedes the growth of another sector also, fine. So all these sectors are interdependent. You can give the example in this way and can explain your answer. So the question that has been prepared up to this, that what first question is, note down the question. What is primary sector? Next, what is secondary sector? Explain with the example. What is tertiary sector? Explain with example. Now, and the next thing is how they are interdependent upon each other. Fine. How all these activities are interdependent and how they can depend upon each other. So all these questions can be asked. One that can also be asked, that how primary sector depends upon the secondary sector. Give an example. Then you have to give the example that how primary sector depends upon the secondary sector. This example you can fix up over there. And next thing is, that question can be asked, that how economic activities can be grouped. You can say economic activities can be grouped in three ways, like primary, secondary and tertiary sector. Fine. All these questions can come and you have to note down in your copy. Now the next thing is comparing the three sector. Now they are comparing three sector. So to go through this paragraph, the various production activities in the primary sector, in the primary, secondary and tertiary sector produce a very large number of goods and services. Also, the three sectors have a large number of people working in them to produce these goods and services. So here they are telling that these three sectors are producing goods and services for the economy, and also they are providing the employment to all the people. The next step therefore is to see how much goods and services are produced and how many people are working in each sector. This is very important point, that how many goods and services are producing by these sector and how many people are involved in such type of activities. So it is very important that which sector is providing more production and which sector is providing more employment. So while doing the comparison, we get through. Now that is to be see how much goods and services that is to be done. Now from there will start an economy. There could be one or more sector which dominate in terms of total production and employment to the other sector are relatively small in size. So they can say that it can be possible that one sector is producing more goods and services comparatively other sector, and one sector is giving more employment comparatively other sector. It is not said that if there may be the reason that one sector is producing more employment in the economy and other sector is producing more goods and services in the economy. Like during the last few years that has been come out, the tertiary sector is giving more amount of goods and services, and agriculture sector is having more people involving in it. So this primary sector is having more people involved in it, especially agriculture, and tertiary sector is providing more amount of goods and services in the economy. So this is you have to do while the comparison. Fine. Now, how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector? So how we can count the goods and services which have been produced in the economy, and how total production in each sector can be calculated. So with so many thousands of goods and services produced, you might think that this is an impossible task. Definitely there are many goods and services which have been producing in all the other sector, numerous goods and services, and it is very difficult to count all. So basically we have to convert all these goods and services into monetary term. So we have to give the same unit of measurement for measuring goods and services that are producing in different all three sectors. Not only, now I'm reading the next line, not only would the task be enormous, you might also wonder how we can add up cars, computer and nails and furniture and all. It is making no sense. So while adding up, suppose there are 1,000 cars have been made, there is 1 lakh computer have been made. It's very difficult to add up all these things, but it will be easy when you convert all these goods into monetary term. So you're right in thinking so. To get around these problem, economics suggests that the value of goods and services should be used rather than adding up the actual number whatever they have been produced. For example, if 10,000 kilograms of wheat is sold at 8 rupees per value of wheat will also be 80,000. The value of coconut at 10 rupees per coconut will be 50,000. So similarly, the value of goods and services in three sectors calculated then added up. So definitely the value of goods and services that has been taken for knowing the how much total production made by all these three sectors. So now the question comes that what is the price they have been taken? Quantity to they know very well. So price they have taken basically for the base year. So for every 10 year, 1 year has been taken as the base year, and that year price has been used for calculating the value of all the next prices of 10 year or next production of 10 year. So definitely if you want to value, then you have to do what you have to do. You have to do multiply price into quantity. Definitely quantity you know very well, and then you have to multiply with price for 1 year. So quantity into price, you know, here you have to take the price. Quantity, so you will use whatever has been produced in the particular year, and price you have to basically take for the base year. Here you have to take the base year. Base year, what is base year? Base year is the year which is taken as a normal year for the next 10 year. So for every 10 year, out of the 10 year, 1 year is taken as a base year, and the price of base year has been taken for calculating the goods and services of that particular year. Otherwise you can use the price of the same year. Like if you are having goods, if you are having suppose 10 computer have been made, and there the year is 2010, you can take the price of that is prevailed in the 10th of 2010. Suppose that is 1 lakh, so 1 lakh can be taken as the price, or you can take the price of base years for 2010. Suppose the 2000 is taken as the base year, and in 2000 the price of the computer was suppose that is 70,000. So if you are taking 70,000, that means you are taking the price of base year. If you are taking 1 lakh, that means you are taking the price of 2010, that is the same year in which for which the quantity you have been taken. So both the price you can use. So as per the national income accounting, you are to take the base year price. This is the base year price for all the goods and services which are producing for next 10 year. You have to take the price of base year. So base year is same for all the next 10 year. Fine. So this is so if you are taking the price of this year, this is not the base year. Base year means when you, with the price which the year which is base for next 10 year. This is the extra information for you. Otherwise, so that you can come to know that what is the role of price for calculation of goods and services in monetary value, because monetary value is very important to calculate. While calculating the monetary value, you can compare that which sector is contributing more, which sector is contributing less. So it is very important to calculate the goods and services money value. It is very difficult to get the value by adding up the quantity. So price is very important in this case. Fine. One thing more I want to tell you, that if you are taking the price at the base year price, that is known as real, basically real income, and if you are taking the price of the current year means in which you are producing, and for that you are calculating the contribution, then that is known as nominal income. So there is no use of this real and nominal. I'm just telling you, it's an extra information for you, so you have to go through next. So there, the thing which is introduced in your book and as per your syllabus, that you are to convert the quantity of goods and services into some monetary value by taking the price. Which type of price has to be taken, that is not to be discussed in your syllabus. I gave you such all this information. Fine. This is the extra information for you.